I will admit, somewhat as a follow-up to one of my recent videos talking about sort of the outlook you should have being a video maker on YouTube, I very much said you should not be about fame and seeking fortune and wealth and becoming a personality and all this stuff. That shouldn't be the impetus behind what you're doing on YouTube, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to fail at that. And but the one thing I want to follow up on that notion with is it's perfectly acceptable and perfectly human to have those kinds of fleeting desires from time to time, and thoughts and fantasies. I'm somebody who, ever since I found my passion for writing, going back to middle school, this after several years of believing I wanted to be an animator slash cartoonist, and really figuring out I didn't draw as well as I thought I could, and I couldn't envision on paper what I could see in my mind and everything like that. I would sometimes have fantasies of my, book having been published for a year and being optioned for a film, and I would be on Jay Leno or David Letterman, basically talking about the book that would become a movie and how excited that was. And I mean, I would have entire sequences where I would envision sitting there and referencing, the support of my sister and what, sort of the inspiration were for different characters and the idea of the story and such like that. Imagining I'm sitting there next to Jay Leno and answering questions in front of a crowd. And so, I mean, things like that are natural. In this YouTube aesthetic, there are times where I see, like, the Funhouse guys and other channels that are big like that. They have a lot of followers who love what they do so much they send in fan art. Basically they're reproducing the likenesses of the Funhouse guys, and there are times when I think, oh man, that would be so cool. That would be mad fun to see people trying to do fan art of me. Not that I'm in any way, shape or form vain, or there's no sense of vanity to it. I just think it would be cool, to see people digging what I'm doing so much that they reciprocate in that sort of artistic fashion. Something a little more leaning toward perhaps something arguably, vanity and a sense of being vain, is a long time ago there was, I think it might have been Toy Fair magazine, which was a spin-off of Wizard magazine, for those who remember that. I don't know if that's exactly where I saw it, or maybe it was something online, but there was this contest for a toy-making company, one of these companies that did, like, I think the Lord of the Rings action figures and or the WWE wrestler figures, where they would have these wrestlers come in and be laser scanned so they could get their likenesses down and create lifelike action figures of them. And there was going to be this contest that you entered, where one lucky person would be chosen to come down to this studio, to be flown out from wherever they are in the country, the United States, and go in and get laser scanned, and they'd win effectively an action figure version of themselves. Now, I'm somebody who, again, I don't have a sense of vanity and, this idea of, the way I look and all that kind of stuff. What you see is what you get, as far as I'm concerned. I really don't care. I don't put a lot of thought into how I look, what I wear, anything like that. But being that I am such a passionate lover and collector of action figures and collectibles, I thought, wow, that would be like the holy grail, to get a figure of me in, like, my favorite outfit. Here I am saying I don't choose my outfits, but as far as my most comfortable outfit happens to be a black t-shirt, plain black t-shirt, dark blue joggers, and black sneakers, and that's it. I'm comfortable. Put the glasses on me, sometimes put the hat on me, in the case I'm not wearing the hat in this video, and it probably would be better to not have it, in a figure form. But the whole point being, sort of like when I think of action figure holy grails, and you think of, the Hot Toys stuff and the Play Arts Kais and all that kind of stuff that's really expensive. Even Kentai Collection, which is the anime series, a lot of the collectibles surrounding that series are mad expensive. Even going back to Superpowers, one of my all-time long-sought action figures that I want to get my hands on again is the Superpowers Superman. Of course, I would like Batman, Robin, and Joker and all that kind of stuff as well, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, but Superman is the first, sort of comic book action figure I had, right alongside Spider-Man. In the history of my life, and was one of the first inspirations. It's very much why Superman is my end-all, be-all, lifelong, topmost favorite superhero ever. He was my first. He was a lot of people's first because he was the first. But, that's sort of the highest, most holy grail I could get, until I think back to that contest and how awesome it would be to have an action figure of yourself. Now, I've heard actors in Doctor Who have gotten action figures of themselves, and again, the Lord of the Rings people and X-Men people, whenever they have an action figure come out that is very close to their own likeness, they say it's kind of surreal and it's kind of weird and it's kind of baffling. And, I mean, in a sense, I can see where they're coming from. But because I love action figures, I mean, I just recently got my hands on the Star Wars Black Series Han Solo, which has a very dead-on likeness of Harrison Ford. And so, yeah, maybe that's weird to him, but I love it. It's going to be standing on my shelf one of these days when I get a shelf set up. And I just thought it would be mad cool to have a figure of myself to be standing amongst all of these other figures that I love. And again, there's no sense of like vanity or like, a chip on my shoulder in saying that. And it's, it's just a natural compunction of our human, mindset to think in terms of what we can achieve and what we can aspire toward. And so you're not, a bad person if you have this sort of idea, these sort of fantasies of, ooh, wouldn't it be nice to make it big on YouTube? Wouldn't it be great to have 1 million followers and have hundreds of thousands of views as soon as my video goes up? And there are times when I'll stumble across, there's two in particular on YouTube that really irk me, two anime reviewers that pretty much, do exactly what I do. One more so than the other. One is more theatrical and doing all these kind of hand things and like, the way he delivers his lines, he kind of looks like a redneck stepchild Heath Ledger. No offense to him, but I really hate the shtick that he does. And then the other guy is just sort of, he sits there and he does what I do. He just talks in front of the camera. And I feel like he talks a lot, but he's not saying much. There's not a lot of value to be taken from what he's saying. And I'm not trying to compare my own sort of review style to him, but I feel like I focus more on emotional elements and story themes and character themes and much more. This guy just sort of, does it very cursorily as far as the way he refers to an episode. He just kind of puts it into a nutshell, and you're just getting a bare bones framework, and he passes it off as a review, and he's got millions of viewers. So, I mean, there are times when I see stuff like that, and I feel like, well, wow, why should I even bother? Hardly anyone's watching my videos, and apparently I'm not doing something well enough to garner that much attention. And, as I've said before, it's not about that for me. But it's not as if those thoughts haven't occurred to me from time to time. And so there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve. You should just have your priorities set straight. I'm just grateful that I have anyone tuning in and conversing back and forth with me in the comments. And it's not about, hitting every one of them and saying, pass my videos around, make me famous, It's about having the conversation. My priorities are in check. But again, it's not sort of out of the realm of possibility for me to fantasize and think, wow, wouldn't it be nice to have millions of viewers? Wouldn't it be nice to have people sending in fan art of me? Wouldn't it be nice to have an action figure of myself? It's just a very normal human equation to think those things. As long as you know where in the grand scheme of things, up here, where all of that should lie and how much importance or lack thereof you should put on those kinds of thoughts, you can succeed. You can do whatever you want. And I think you should have modest goals, just wanting to have the conversation, wanting to get out there, have your voice be heard, and just being welcomed into the community rather than thinking about rising above said community. So yeah, just wanted to share that, get a little more elaboration going on the entire topic, because I'm definitely somebody, in the last couple of days, once again, I went through this fit where I was looking at these other more popular anime reviewers and thinking, I just feel like they have such a lack of content, or they're all performance and lack of substance, or the, sort of the way they focus on their substance, air quotes, is lacking, in my humble opinion. And I feel like with what I'm doing from time to time, how is it not good enough to, garner that kind of attention? Am I doing something wrong? And it's a very natural, sort of mindset to get into, especially with the way YouTube is. It's a very fickle process, and as long as you know that going in, and you don't make mountains out of molehills, you don't make mountains out of the lack of attention, you appreciate what attention you do get, that's the right way to sort of go about this whole YouTube gimmick and scheme and video making thing. And so, yeah, enough rambling on this topic from me. Love to hear from you in the comments below if any of this makes sense to you, if you have experienced this yourselves, or you can see where I'm coming from, even from sort of the outside looking in, the viewer looking at the video maker and such like that. Because as I say, we're all on a level playing field here, and I love hearing from you and having the conversation back and forth. So otherwise, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.